Welcome to ReX TV, where we bring you the latest interviews with RepostExchange members from around the globe. In this episode, we're excited to feature the effortlessly talented dance and EDM producer MISTRO TS. He's a rising star with his eye for detail and dedication to working with some of the best vocalists. He's making a name for himself as one to watch. Here he is talking to Jazz from the RepostExchange team about his journey in the music industry, how to stand out among the crowd, and providing opportunities for other artists to succeed. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this exclusive interview with MISTRO TS, only on RepostExchange.
You're basically the start of my day.
I like it. I'll take that. So how long have you been making music for?
About, I'd say 10 years, almost 11 years. 10, that's like good.
Yeah,
that's a good estimate.
And so you come from a musical family, don't you?
Yeah, I come from so Kool The Gang, which is my grandfather's group. He was the lead guitarist and co-founder. So they go way back. Like they opened up their band in like Jersey City. That's where I was born. And then they ended up touring, one opportunity led to another opportunity, and then they got discovered. And then, that's when eventually they ended up getting signed to Delight Records, which is now known as Def Jam. And, they met so many people higher up in the industry. And then, a lot of doors opened for them, and they did a lot of big things. All I saw was, in my childhood, I would just see studio equipment everywhere. And, there was a huge studio in my attic, a room full of like mics, preamps, all this equipment. It's like I could go up there, and it was like, you ever seen like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where they're going into the chocolate factory? There's all this candy, and it's all this,
there's like they've got the chocolate river, but you're like a kid in a candy shop.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
In studio.
That's like the best way to describe it. It's just like I knew I could go in that room and discover something new and not know what it is, not know what it does, but I could toy around with it and maybe do something cool. And there were lots of like tape recorders and stuff like that. So I just grew up around like music stuff. I was just overexposed to it as a kid, and then I just fell deeper and deeper into it, and now I'm here, making actual tracks and stuff like that.
Amazing. That must such a special start to your career. What was the first thing you remember like recording on or picking up?
The first thing I can remember is this MIDI keyboard. So Casio used to make, are you familiar with Casio?
Yeah.
They used to make like these keyboards, and they weren't full keyboards, but they were mini keyboards. And I don't know if they necessarily were meant to like plug into computers or whatnot, but I used to just use them just to like play little melodies and stuff like that, play like the little demo things that they had on there, like the drum tracks. And I used to just mess around on those. I used to hear songs on the radio, like by Justin Timberlake. You know what that is? It's like a famous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to hear his stuff all the time when I was younger, and I used to try to recreate his melodies and recreate his chords. And I would always just like, play the songs that I heard on the radio on that keyboard, and then I would always try to learn that. And then I got deeper into that, and then I ended up really loving keyboard, and then I started playing full keyboard. Like my mom brought me like an 88 key. My grandma brought me my first 88 key full keyboard, and then I started learning the songs on there, and then I got really into classical piano, and then that was like the start of like my first instrument, learning how to play, and me actually loving it. Like I just became obsessed with classical piano, and then I was always a producer. I used to produce songs on the keyboards too. They had like 16 tracks at most, and I used to use the drum tracks and the guitars and the synthesizers, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was just having fun.
Yeah.
It was just a hobby. It wasn't anything super serious, or like I wasn't thinking I'm gonna have a career one day. I was always just thinking, like I just want to do this and only this.
So the stuff you make now, like, so you produce your own music, and it's kind of like, would you say it's like electronic, more like dance and EDM?
Yeah, it's completely electronic. I never thought I'd be getting into house. I'm starting
Mm-hmm.
to.
I
My new.
love house.
Yes, I love it too. My new stuff is starting to sound more house-ish. I wish I could show you my new music, the stuff I have unreleased, but it'll be coming out on the Kool label soon, and um, it's more housey, more EDM style, but leaning more towards that original house sound. And I would have never thought when I started making music that I'd become like an EDM producer, or that I'd even be DJing. I just, I mean, I'm just following the journey and seeing where it goes. But yeah, I would say
Yeah.
my sound is mostly house.
You often like collaborate and like have singers, like maybe like, would you say like there were like session singers on your tracks, or do you ever sing on any of your own?
So funny story. Recently, I did do a track just a few days ago where I'm actually like singing, kind of rapping on it. But it was a joke. But a lot of my friends, I sent it to a lot of my friends, and they liked it. I put it up on my SoundCloud for like a day, just to see if it would get like a response. And a lot of people DM'd me on Instagram telling me that they loved it and that they wanted to hear more of like the sound. And
Wow.
I was surprised. I put a lot of auto tune on my voice, as it wasn't anything serious, but they liked it. But I prefer verbally like collaborating with really talented singers, because there's just so many talented people out there, and I feel like I've met some of the best, most talented singers in the world, and I want to do more stuff with them. And you know, I want to collaborate that way, because I feel like it's the best. I always want to deliver the best, especially when I make music, when I polish it, when I release it. I want it to be the best it could possibly sound. Not only for myself, but for the whole world. I really think that quality is important.
Yeah, I do think that really comes across in your music. It sounds really like neat, professional, really well thought out, but also like the vocals are always on point and the production's always amazing. How do you find people to collaborate with, or like singers? Do you find them on SoundCloud, or how do you do that?
Thank you so much. So it's a combination of things. I find some singers on Instagram. If I really like them a lot, I'll DM them and then be like, let's work. And if they like my stuff, then it happens. I find some singers naturally. One singer I found who's really talented, his name is Norman Alexander, and he's coming out. He's been coming out, and he's one of the most insane singers I know. I found him just through life. I was with my videographer. He had a gig. I went with him, just to help him out on his gig, just as a best friend. And then he was working with this singer, and then he was really good. And I was like, "Yo, I'm a producer, by the way. I really love your voice." And then he played me some of his stuff. I played him some of mine, and then we went to his house, sat down, me at the piano, him singing, and we had a blast. It was just freestyling, just him singing his songs, me playing the keys, and it just worked. And then we had the most insane synergy, the most insane chemistry. So now we do all these songs together. Like the song I sent you, Your Killer, that's him. He wrote that.
Yeah.
He wrote that hook. I met him naturally. And then there was this one singer I found. I saw on SoundCloud. I don't want to say too much because I don't think her manager wants me to say her like actual name. But I found her on SoundCloud, and then I ended up reaching out to her through SoundBetter because I couldn't really get in touch with her. And then we started working. I sent her my ideas, and then the song came out really good. And then SoundBetter is also a really good platform to use as well if you want to invest in finding great vocalists. But sometimes you find them naturally, sometimes you find them through the internet. But just keep making music. If you keep putting stuff out there, then some singers will find you.
What do you think the biggest challenge is for independent artists at the moment?
I think just getting out there overall is it's a challenge. Being seen, being heard, because it's really oversaturated. But if you really believe in yourself and you really believe you have what it takes, you really believe your music is good, you cannot let anything stop you from putting content out, putting music out. And it can be anything, but just make sure that you're fully believing in yourself, and you're putting out as much music, as much good and quality music as you can, because that's what's going to separate you from everyone else. Try not to put out stuff that isn't good enough. Try to put out stuff that you think would capture listeners' attention, because if you could do that and you could keep doing that over and over and over and over and over again, you will get to where you need to be.
Girl, you can take my life, you can be my killer. Baby, can I have your love? Can I be your killer? Go ahead and take my life, you can be my killer. Be my
Amazing. Oh yeah, JQ.
Yeah,
I think I remember.
Yeah, he's also an artist I met naturally. I forgot to mention him, but he's an outstanding rapper. And we just happened to be friends. I heard his music, and then I was just like, "Whoa, you sound like Eminem." Then we did some tracks together, and he's really humble too. He doesn't even know how good he is. But that's why I really like working with talented people, because I feel like one day, hopefully, when I build a platform, we can expose this talent. I feel like there's a lot of the industry as a whole, the music industry is missing a lot of the real talent, like the real soul, the real, it's like, like back in like the 2000s or even before that, when in order to break artists in, they have to be really talented. Nowadays, there's a lot of, to be honest, a lot of trash music out there that is getting a lot of shine, that I really feel like, there's so many underground talented artists that deserve that spotlight. So if I ever get a platform myself, because I'm gonna make it happen, speaking of the universe.
Absolutely.
When I get that platform, my mission is always going to be to expose talent. And it comes from that same genuine place like that you have with finding artists that you really like listening to. I feel like that'll always be my mission also.
Yeah, because I think whatever platform you have, it's like it's your job to like leave the door open for other people.
Yes, it is.
Isn't it? Like, it's not to draw the drawbridge up. It's to say like, I've got this. This is what I've managed to carve out in this really crowded industry. But I'll do what I can to help you up too.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's an obligation, and the reason I say that is because you get lucky. I've gotten lucky a lot, with the people I've met and the doors that have opened for me, the opportunities I have, especially through my family. There's certain things I may have access to that not a lot of other people have access to. So when I get those opportunities and I walk through the door, I'm not going to slam it shut. I'm going to make sure that if there's people that I know are talented, that are hustling, that are trying to get their music out there, that have what it takes, I'm going to make sure that I leave that door wide open and I pull them through it. Because honestly, like, it's not fair the way some things are set up in the industry. But when you get those opportunities and when you get lucky, you definitely, it is their obligation to look after, the people behind you.
Well, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for being my guest today. It's just been absolutely delightful chat.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a great conversation.